He was the kind of man people whispered about in elevators, a billionaire CEO whose name alone could shake boardrooms. But all the power in his hands meant nothing the day he hired the quiet girl who sat outside his office with her hair tied back and her eyes lowered like she was afraid to look at him for too long. Her name was Alina, and she never imagined that a man like Arman Malik, the king of skyscrapers, the ruler of contracts, the storm that no one dared to disobey, would one day fall for the woman who typed his emails and answered his calls. But life becomes dangerous when hearts choose what minds warn against. It started so small. A soft, "Good morning, sir." A smile she tried to hide when he thanked her for staying late, and something inside him shifted. Something he didn't want to admit, because he had a wife at home, a reputation built on discipline, and a company that demanded he never cross certain lines. Yet the line between them grew thinner every day. He began noticing things he shouldn't. The way she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear when she was nervous. The way her voice softened when she read his calendar. The way she held her breath when he stood too close. She tried to stay professional, tried to keep distance, but the more she avoided him, the more he felt a hunger he had never known, not even for success. He found excuses to talk to her, to ask for files he didn't need, to call her into his office just to watch her stand there, pretending she didn't feel the same fire he did. The board saw him losing focus. His wife felt him slipping away, and still he couldn't stop, because Alina wasn't just a woman. She was the quiet danger he walked toward, even knowing it would destroy everything. The night everything changed was the night a storm hit the city, trapping them alone in the office. She tried to leave before the rain worsened, but the elevator shut down and the roads flooded, and there they were, two people who had been fighting their feelings for months, now locked in a world made of glass walls and dim lights. He offered her coffee. She accepted, her hands trembling, and when he said her name with the softness he had never used with anyone, she finally looked into his eyes as if she was admitting she had been his long before he confessed. He walked toward her slowly, like a man surrendering, and she whispered, "Sir, we can't." But he cupped her face as if her excuses were made of paper, and she didn't step back, she didn't breathe, she didn't fight the moment that had been pulling them together since the day she first walked into his office. He kissed her, and the world outside roared with thunder, as if fate itself was warning him that he had just rewritten the future. They hid their relationship like a dangerous secret. Stolen moments in empty corridors, late-night meetings that were not meetings, messages he couldn't stop sending, emotions he couldn't control. She told him she didn't want to ruin his marriage or his name, but he told her he didn't care. He had everything a man could want, yet nothing had ever felt as real as her. Rumors began to spread in the company. His wife found messages he forgot to delete, and the board demanded he end whatever was distracting him because the empire he built on discipline was cracking under his own desire. He was forced to choose his reputation, his empire, his perfect life, or the woman who had never asked for anything except distance he refused to give. He chose her. He confessed everything to his wife, stepped down temporarily from the company, faced journalists who tore his dignity apart, and still he didn't let go of Alina's hand. She cried and begged him to stop, to save himself, to save everything he had spent years building, but he told her he had already spent a lifetime choosing the right things and losing himself in the process. For the first time in his life, he wanted something not for power, not for image, not for control. He wanted her because she made him feel like a man, not a title. The world judged them. The board doubted him. His wife walked away, but Arman stood firm because he knew the cost of loving her and still chose to pay it. And when the company slowly welcomed him back, not as the perfect CEO, but as a man who survived his own mistakes, Alina stood by his side, not as a secret, not as a shadow,
but as the woman for whom he had risked everything. And sometimes, late at night when he looked at the empire he almost lost, he would smile because he knew one truth very deeply. Some empires crumble, but some hearts are worth rebuilding everything for.